Happy Monday, happy Moon Day. How is everybody feeling this morning? I know this weekend was a little bit of kind of an emotional roller coaster, at least when it comes to what the moon was doing. Last week, we had all of this intense energy with the Mercury-Mars conjunction kind of fueling us through the week. And then that square to Saturn brought up some obstacles, some challenges. But once that moon moved into Pisces Friday and Saturday, I think a lot of people sort of hit the brakes, or at least that's what it felt like to me. In fact, I was talking to another astrologer and I was talking about my live stream on Friday. And I said, I'm such a Virgo that the whole message of rest from Pisces, the Pisces moon, just kind of flew over my head until I pulled a card at the end of our live stream. And if you were watching, the card we pulled was wait. And then all of a sudden it just kind of clicked, like, yes, Pisces moon, rest. So the message came through. That's why we pull a card at the end of every live stream, because sometimes the universe has a little bit more wisdom than I can offer. So we will do that at the end of today's live stream as well. But I hope at least your Saturday or your weekend in general was restful. I hope that you found a little bit of downtime this weekend. By Sunday, you might have been starting to feel that fiery energy, that activating energy with the moon in Aries, which it is currently in this morning. So what does an Aries moon mean? Well, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's the warrior archetype. And so you might have woken up this Monday morning feeling a little bit more agitated, or just feeling like you are ready to jump into action. So the great thing about astrology is that it can help us be more aware of the energy around us, but it can also help us be more aware of the energy that's affecting the people around us. And it can help us sort of understand where people are coming from a little bit more easily. I want you to keep that in mind as we go through today's transits, because the Aries moon can be a little bit activating, a little bit aggravating. You might be feeling a little bit more irritable, or things that would normally kind of irk you might really send you over the edge today. So fair warning. But our major transit of the day, as I'll show you here on our screen, let me scroll down so you can see the chart a little bit better. So we have the moon in Aries here at 12 degrees Aries, coming towards a conjunction. Oh, excuse me, this is in Pisces. This is not the right day. So there we go. Okay, here we are. Here is Monday. Here is today. So there we go. The moon is at 12 degrees Aries right now. Yesterday, it formed that conjunction to Chiron. You might have read about that in my forecast. So yesterday could have brought up some really deep emotions or deep anger, because the moon in Aries can bring up some anger. And today, the moon doesn't make any really major connections. We'll talk about the minor connections it makes and what that could bring up. The major transit we're talking about today is our Scorpio sun over here at 23 degrees Scorpio, forming a square to Jupiter in Aquarius. So this is a pretty big transit. We have our sun, our self, kind of the main luminary of our solar system, forming this challenging angle to Jupiter, the planet of abundance, the planet of manifestation, of optimism. So what does that mean for us? Well, as with every transit, there's a darkness and a light. So let's talk about, I like to talk about the darkness first. I like to talk about the negativity, just get that out of the way so we can end on a high note and we can focus on the light. So what this could do negatively is make us a little overly optimistic, make us a little bit excessive. We might feel more self-righteous, because the sun rules our self and Jupiter rules higher perspectives, religion, spirituality. So when we kind of see these two energies activating each other, it can make us feel like we know what's best. And it can also make it so that our own ego, our own self-confidence is inflated, which could ultimately interfere with what we want to call in, what we are aiming for. So our ability to see a higher perspective is part of manifestation, is part of receiving our desires. And that could be blocked. We could be, like I said, overly confident, especially with this Aries moon drumming up all of this like confident Mars energy when we have the Sun square Jupiter at the same time. This could it could be easy to take on more than we can handle or overestimate our abilities under this transit. So with the Sun square Jupiter, probably not a great idea to overcommit yourself to anything. Moderation is really the mantra of the day. So if you feel like you want to do it all, again, especially with this Aries moon giving us this action, this do energy, make sure that whatever you're committing to isn't going to be too much when the sun starts to pull away from this square to Jupiter, because later this week we have a little bit of a calmer energy and we do have an eclipse coming at the end of the week. So the last thing you want to do is overload your plate, because any imbalances, anything that needs to be cleared can definitely be cleared during an eclipse. So keep that in mind. Claudia says, I was so moody yesterday all day. Claudia, you are not the only person. Actually, I had someone else reach out to me and say anytime there is some transit involving Chiron, they feel it. And so you might have felt that as well, especially since the moon moved into Aries yesterday, forming that conjunction to Chiron. It can definitely bring up our deepest wounds, our deepest angers. And I like to also compare the Aries moon or Aries energy to kind of a baby or a toddler, because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So you can think of that animal instinct, right, that babies have. When they don't have their needs immediately met, they're going to scream, they're going to cry, they're going to sound all of the alarms to try to tell you that they need something, because they don't have the language skills, the knowledge yet to A, do it for themselves, or B, just ask in a nice way, right? They don't know how to talk yet. So we can kind of think of that instinct, that impulse when it comes to Aries energy, and it'll be really easy to sound the alarms if we feel like we're being vulnerable, our desires aren't being met. And so you might have felt that yesterday as well, especially with that moon forming a conjunction to Chiron. That can bring up our deepest emotions. So we talked about the negatives of the Sun square Jupiter today, our major transit, being a little bit overly excessive, overcommitting ourselves, really just, overextending our energy. The positive of this, however, is that our mood should get a boost. So this transit goes exact around noon today, Pacific time, the Sun square Jupiter. So this can really boost our confidence. Jupiter is the planet of optimism. It's the planet of manifestation, of abundance. So you can think of this as kind of activating our sun, our self, and making us feel a little bit more optimistic about who we are. This is the last week of Scorpio season as well. So a lot of things with the moon in Aries, with the moon conjunct Chiron yesterday, could have been coming up about your transformation. A lot of deep feelings could have been coming up about the changes you want to make or the shifts that you're already feeling. So this last week of Scorpio season is almost an opportunity to kind of complete that transformation or complete this phase, especially because we have a full moon on Friday in Taurus, a full moon, partial lunar eclipse. So not our typical full moon, and we'll go over that a little bit more as the week goes on. But our confidence could get a boost. So we could use this energy. I always like to tell you ways to use the energy to your advantage. We can use this Sun square Jupiter to really step into our own, step into the transformation that we've been making with that confidence, really own who we are. So, don't overcommit yourself. Don't overextend yourself. We'll feel more generous under this transit as well, but almost blindly generous. Like we're willing to say yes in an instant. We're willing to help anybody or do anything for anyone in an instant because we'll feel so good. But the downfall of that, of course, is that if you say yes to too many people, if you overcommit yourself to too many people, well, then you're going to end up disappointing yourself or those people in the process, or just draining your energy, especially because the moon moves into Taurus tomorrow, which is much more grounded. It's much more relaxed. We crave comfort. We crave stability a little bit more with Taurus. So, with this Aries moon today, we can have this urge to go, 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 do, say yes, do it all. And we might be kicking ourselves by tomorrow if we say yes to too much today. So that's the major transit. The sun squaring off to Jupiter. And then the moon in Aries, as I mentioned, isn't really making too many major connections. So you can see it here, the moon at 12 degrees. So the only connections it's really going to make are to Mars and Mercury over here in Scorpio. So today brings a lot of Scorpio energy, a lot of fire energy with Jupiter and Aries, really just an activating day. But the angles that the moon forms to Mars and Mercury. So first it'll form this imbalanced angle to Mars that actually already happened at 4 o'clock this morning. So that could have definitely added to any irritation that you felt first thing when you woke up this morning, or any anger, any hostility. And our actions might not actually match with our inner feelings or our instincts under this transit. First thing on Monday morning, we might feel like, just kind of angry that we have to go to work, angry that a new week is starting, even though emotionally our instincts are telling us, okay, it's just Monday. This is what you have to do. Just do it. But this awkward angle to Mars could just feel like aggravation, or any aggravation you're feeling because of a blending of these two energies could be imbalanced or might not be aligned with who you really want to be, how you really want to feel emotionally. And so with this Aries moon, especially with it forming connections to Mars and Mercury, two of the most active planets, physical exercise is going to be your friend this Monday. And the sun square Jupiter as well drums up a lot of energy. So these transits scream, do some exercise, sweat it out, get some energy moving through your body, because any stagnant energy is going to want to come out, and it's likely going to come out in a way that's not the nicest for the people around you. By 3 o'clock this afternoon, the moon forms that same awkward angle to Mercury. So you can almost imagine it here. Actually, you don't have to imagine it. I am going to show you. So if we push forward into the morning, the moon, when it was at 10 degrees, already formed that imbalanced angle to Mars. Then we'll go ahead a few hours. I should have done this not hour by hour, but thank you for bearing with me. So until about 3 o'clock this afternoon, the moon is pulling away from that connection with Mars and starting to make this connection with Mercury. So now you can see that here on your screen if you're watching our live stream on YouTube or Facebook. The moon at 16 degrees in Aries almost looks like it's opposite Mercury in Scorpio, but it's not quite opposite. It's called a quincunx. So it's one sign off from a complete opposition, which is why we feel that imbalanced energy. So how this could manifest for you today, really fun energy today, you guys, for a Monday, is that there could be some misunderstandings with Messenger Mercury in this imbalance to our internal self, to the moon in Aries. This could look like tempers flaring, anger, snarky responses, passive aggressiveness. So just really try to take extra care with how you're communicating today. It could be really easy to say something impulsively that doesn't actually align with how we feel or doesn't align with the outcome we really want. Try to give others the benefit of the doubt, even if it feels a little bit weird doing so, because these imbalanced angles bring this awkward energy. We feel this awkwardness towards our anger. We feel this awkwardness towards our communication. We know who we want to be. We know who our higher self is, but for some reason, our carnal animal instincts could be taking over today with this Aries moon forming these awkward angles to Mercury and Mars. So I talked about this at the beginning of the live stream, but it's something that kept coming back to me today as I was thinking about the transits, is just to remember that everybody is being affected by this energy just as much as you are. Everybody has their own astrological planetary makeup, so the energies affect us all a little bit differently. But if you are noticing people around you being more hostile, being more irritable, being more angry, the beautiful thing about tracking the transits and following astrology is that we don't necessarily have to take those actions or those attitudes personally. We can understand that, gosh, I've been feeling this agitation from the Aries moon yesterday with the moon in Aries conjunct Chiron. It was a rough day for me. It's Monday and people are feeling a little cocky, a little full of themselves. And then we have this underlying anger building with the moon in Aries and Mercury and Mars in the mix. So long story short, just try to give other people the benefit of the doubt. Try to slow down in your own communication, in your own thoughts, and try to understand if other people are feeling a little bit agitated or are coming across as angry or mean, that, maybe they're just feeling the energy of today's transits as well. So that's something that's been really transformative for me. Tracking astrology is not taking things personally, even not just tracking the transits, but understanding my loved ones' signs and astrological makeup, understanding where their moon is in comparison to my moon. It makes it a lot easier to say, okay, my mom is just a Sagittarius. She's just going to be a free spirit. And just to understand that that's part of her DNA, that's part of her makeup, that's how she came into this life expressing herself. And that's what makes her beautiful, right? I hope my mom is watching right now because she knows how I feel about all of her Sagittarius placements. But I do have my North Node in Sagittarius, so I have a lot to learn from her freedom. Me being a Virgo, I can be very uptight and, try to be so pure, but I can lean into that Sagittarius energy and have a little fun. So an overview of our transits really quickly, then we'll give you a little preview of what we're tracking throughout the week, and then of course we will end by pulling a card. So today we have this 90-degree angle, this square between the Sun and Jupiter, which can boost our confidence and make us feel really optimistic on our Monday. However, we can be overly confident or overcommit under this transit. So beware of excess and beware not to overextend your energy. Be careful not to say yes to too many things because later in the week that could come back to bite you. And it'll feel easier to say yes and take action this Monday because we have an Aries moon, which brings a lot of energy with it, but it also brings a lot of agitation, restlessness, anger. The moon is forming these awkward angles to Mars and Mercury, which could make it easier to say or do things faster than we really want to, or act out of anger. And lashing out on people or reacting impulsively won't necessarily align with how we truly feel or who we want to be. So my big advice for this Monday is moderation. Take it slow. Give other people the benefit of the doubt and really try to lean into patience. This is the last day. The moon is in Aries. The moon moves into Taurus tomorrow, bringing a more grounded energy, helping us really manifest in the physical world and getting us more into our bodies and less into our reactions, if that makes sense. Aries is a fire sign. It brings that fiery emotion. Taurus is an earth sign. So we can be a little bit more down to earth when the moon moves into Taurus tomorrow. And then over the next couple days, We do have the sun forming a sextile to Pluto tomorrow, so that could really round out the transformation we've been feeling over Scorpio season. Tomorrow could be a really transformative day. And as we lead up to the end of the week, we're leading up to that partial lunar eclipse in Taurus, the beginning of a 2-year eclipse cycle in Taurus. So this week is really the culmination of this energy of endings and beginnings. We have Scorpio season ending. We have transformations completing. We have cycles ending, but this eclipse could feel like the beginning of a cycle. Even if you don't know what's being started yet, whatever energy comes in on Friday could be the spark of a project, a transformation, some sort of trend over your life in the next 2 years. So that's what's coming on Friday. I know we're still a ways out, but even on Monday, we've always got to look forward to the weekend, right? Okay, I always do this. Let me go grab a deck of cards. And let's see what message Spirit has for us today. So I'm going to pull from the Work Your Light deck by Rebecca Campbell. Still working on buying some more decks, so they're not as repetitive for you guys. But I love this deck so much. The art is so beautiful. And the messages are nice and short and sweet, which we will definitely love under this Aries moon. So are you guys feeling the energy of the Aries moon? Tell me, how did you wake up on this Monday morning? Did you feel a little bit more agitated? Did you feel a little bit more optimistic because of the sun's mashup with Jupiter? What is the energy? How is everybody feeling? All right. What do we need to know for this week, for this Monday? What is the message that needs to come through? Okay, share your voice is what came through the deck today. So here's what that looks like. Come out of the cave, persecution, expression. Ooh, this is what I mean about this artwork. It's so beautiful. And the message is just always so short and sweet. Okay, so what does this mean? Share your voice. I'm a little worried because this Aries moon can make it a little easier to share our voice than usual in more of a hostile way, but maybe this will give us some clarity. And I shouldn't say I'm worried. This is the perfect message that needs to come through, of course. But, you know, the Aries moon can make it easier to just kind of spout off. Let's see. However, Jupiter square the sun is a great energy to share our voice, right? Because we will feel more optimistic. So maybe that's what this is about. Here's what it says. Share your voice. Come out of the cave, persecution, expression. You are being called to share your voice, perhaps by speaking up in a relationship or through writing, speaking, singing, or some other form of creative expression. We each hold a deep truth within us that longs to be expressed. Sculpted for lifetimes, the voice of your soul is like no other. It carries with it a wisdom that can only be gained through soul history and growth. By remembering, tapping into, and expressing this unique tone, we not only heal ourselves, we also heal the planet at large. When you share your voice, you unlock something in the universe and call a missing piece of you home. Your individual voice is the most powerful sound current on the planet. If you have kept your soul's voice silenced or held back, chanting or singing could be truly life-changing for you. As we shed the layers of our personality and start letting our unique soul speak through us, we discover that we actually have a very clear message that longs to be shared. The more we speak it, the clearer it gets. There has never been a better time in history than right now to rise up, speak your truth, and share your soul's voice. If you feel fearful, know that you are not alone and that the world needs your unique tone in order to harmonize. As we each rise up and share our song, we make it easier for the next person to do the same. Express yourself, share your voice, speak to those who can hear you. Speak to those who can hear you. I love that last line. So how does this relate to today's transits? Well, this can be a good reminder that Our voice can be really powerful in helping other people along their journey as well. The sun square Jupiter makes it easier to express ourselves for sure, but making sure that we're doing that in a way that is most aligned with our highest self is really going to be more beneficial than just speaking for the sake of speaking. So it's easy under an Aries moon to react impulsively. It's easy under an Aries moon, especially with these connections to Mars and Mercury, to express our anger, to allow those emotions to kind of come bursting out of us. And with the sun square Jupiter, our filter is like non-existent, right? We're just like more expressive, maybe a little bit excessive. So it might be easier to share your voice, but ask yourself if what you're sharing is really aligned with who you want to be and who you are. And something else that came through when I pulled this card and I was reading the description is, the court says, this card speaks to me so much. Oh, good, good. See, it's always meant for at least one person watching, but I think, there's always a message in here for everybody that we can all take away from. But the Aries moon, the sun square Jupiter, brings a lot of energy moving through us, and it kind of screams like physical exercise. If you're feeling tension, if you're feeling some stagnant energy that needs to be moved, physical exercise is a great way to do that. Just sweat it out, get all of your aggression out at the gym, on a run, so you don't take it out on the people around you. However, people are busy. I know we don't always have a workout planned on Monday or time to fit one in. Another beautiful way to move energy, as my voice is getting a little froggy, another beautiful way to move energy is to share your voice. So that could look like just screaming at the top of your lungs to your favorite song in your car. That's a great way to move energy, to clear stagnancy, to lean into alignment with your higher self while also getting out whatever it is that needs to come out with this moon in Aries. So, sometimes even if I'm feeling a little like aggro or I am feeling a little irritable, like putting on some angry music or even just some like angsty music, some Alanis Morissette, I don't know, whatever floats your boat, whatever works for you, and just letting myself be free in my house or in my car by myself, just kind of releasing that energy on my own can be very beneficial. So sharing your voice could come in that form as well, using your voice to move energy through you. And it's literally proven, singing it activates certain parts of your body to be a stress relief, to help you feel a little bit better. So that could be a great tool for you today if you are feeling that aggravation and feeling like you need a way to move some energy through you. So I hope that this live stream brought you some clarity today, maybe got you into a better mindset if you woke up feeling that aggravation, or just kind of boosted you up knowing that the sun square Jupiter is bringing us a little optimism today. We'll really start to feel that right around noon Pacific time on Monday. So just make sure you're not going overboard. That's really the bottom line. Lean into the good vibe today, but make sure you're not going overboard with how you're expressing yourself. Make sure you're not speaking before you think. Make sure you're not being impulsive or maybe a little bit mean under this transit, and things should calm down a little bit more as far as the moon goes by tomorrow. So thank you so much for joining me this morning. We'll be right back here tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. And we also have our next episode of The Spiritual Journalist streaming tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Tomorrow, we're talking all about tarot and oracle cards. I'm so excited for you to meet our guest. Her name is Morgan, but she goes by Rising with Morgan on Instagram, so you can go check her out there if you want to get a little sneak preview. But I'm really excited to learn all about how she got into tarot, how she learned, and maybe learn a few tips and tricks for myself as I've incorporated card pulling into all of my shows. So I hope to see you right back here tomorrow morning at 7:30 or wherever you're watching right now at 10 a.m. as well. But until then, stay curious.